We have 30 minutes, rather, not a few minutes. We have 30 minutes to go through this. Does everyone see my screen? Put it in the chat. Yes? Okay, great. Wonderful. All right, so let's get started. So welcome. I'm Susan Barashai, founder of CA Admissions. If you don't know me, today's topic is all about strategy, confidence, and timing. Whether you received one offer, two offers, several offers, negotiating your scholarship can feel definitely intimidating, but it really doesn't have to be. And we're here to demystify what does it mean to put together a scholarship request, a scholarship negotiation, essentially. And if it's done right, it can definitely increase your funding, but it also can help you just understand how to communicate more effectively with clarity and demonstrate, mutual fit, essentially. So just a little bit about CA Admissions, especially given that we are in a new platform. I don't know how many new faces are here. CA Admissions is a MBA coaching firm, a boutique MBA coaching firm focused on tailored coaching. We focus on going deeper with clients, with applicants, to help them tell a narrative, even in the scholarship negotiation process. And we have done this time and again in our close to 10 years, 8 years of work experience in this space. And we keep refining the way we coach clients based on experiences, and that those elements, what we've seen, help us be here today to talk, or help me, the founder, be here today and talk about, how do you do this effectively? So this is going to be a tight and focused session. The key is that you walk away with some effective scholarship negotiation skills, so you can do some research, and then we're going to open the live Q&A. We really do only have 30 minutes for this session, so I'm really going to try to kind of rush a little bit through this process, but I'm happy to answer any additional questions that you guys may have. So why should you negotiate scholarship? The first reason is really simple. That's often overlooked. Some schools actually have discretionary funds that aren't always advertised. And for the right candidate, they are willing to put in extra money if they're asked. So schools that are competing particularly with one another definitely can help you negotiate. So like think Ross and Kellogg, for example, though you can definitely leverage the two school offers if you've applied to those. But there are some other schools who are not as, don't necessarily have those discretionary funds or don't approach scholarship negotiation from that way. So, and approach the scholarship negotiation from more of a need-based category, and that would be more like HBS and GSB. So you really want to recognize which school has those opportunities for you. And it's always worth asking, even if they say no. What it's never going to happen is that unless you do something unethical and something comes back to the admission team that you have lied in your application or anything along those lines, they won't rescind your offer because you ask for more money. They won't revoke what they've given you in scholarship because you asked for more money. So that is foundations that you need to keep in mind. And you asking, one, it helps make sure you're not leaving anything on the table, but it also makes sure that you can, learn how to negotiate, which you'll need to be doing as you move forward in your career. So we're going to start. The first step in the scholarship negotiation process is to do your research and prepare. Too many applicants definitely approach this like a transaction, and I have more money over here and I need you to give me more money or I'll accept their offer. That's kind of like a hostile takeover style that no one wants to negotiate in, right? Instead, start by asking, or start by reflecting, how does the school make scholarship decisions, first and foremost? I mentioned, some schools that are more receptive to negotiation. So think Tuck and Yale, for example. But Wharton may not necessarily be someone that's going to be willing to negotiate scholarship. So knowing their general scholarship philosophy helps you set realistic expectations for yourself. Also keep in mind that scholarships aren't always about numbers, they're about yield protection and program composition. So what does that mean is that they want to admit and enroll students who will enrich the classroom, that those students are going to succeed in the program and represent the brand well over time. So if you come across if you are the person who is coming across as a high potential candidate who is genuinely interested in the program, but it's weighing attractive offers, right? And it's okay. They know that you have applied to other schools. That makes you valuable in their eyes. So don't forget, though, that tone is important in this process to make sure that you are, going in with professionalism, respect, clarity in your conversations with the admission team. Once you understand what the process will look like for the schools that you have applied to and you've been admitted to, now it's time to gather your evidence. Right? Start by gathering competing offers. These are most powerful, of course, when they come from peer or higher ranked institutions than the ones that you are requesting more scholarship from. So if you received 40,000 from Ross and 20,000 from Kellogg, that data can be helpful. Or if Yale offered you more than Stern, you can definitely leverage that. So you also need to highlight what you bring to the table. That's an important thing that oftentimes applicants forget. They just think that, oh, here's my offers and I'm going to present them and then see what schools come back with. You have to remember that this is not just about numbers. You also need to highlight what you bring to the table. Schools don't give scholarships just because they want to match another school's offer. They give them to secure the right kind of students into their program. So the question is, are you bringing experiences from an underrepresented industry? Do you have international exposure or leadership in a niche domain that will be valuable to the collective of the classroom? Have you already built communities or mentored individuals that align with the values of the school? This is where many candidates miss the mark, that they're presenting essentially the ask, but forget to reinforce that fit and the impact that they're going to make in the business school itself. So when you prepare the negotiation, you want to kind of walk in, quote unquote, with two things: concrete data, so your leverage, which means your offers, and a clear articulation of your values. That combination makes your case to negotiate, essentially. And it also makes it persuasive and not just, I need more money, which obviously we all do. Now that you've done your research, you gathered your evidence, it's time to actually craft your message. So this is typically done in a letter format, so like in an email, or it's done through a portal in the application, in the back end of your application to the school you've been admitted to. People definitely get nervous, but you're always going to start the letter with gratitude. Open your email or open your letter by thanking the school for the offer, reaffirming your excitement to attend the program, and making it genuinely clear that you are excited to join if everything aligns. Next, you want to introduce your leverage, but keep it definitely polite and concise. So avoid long-winded compositions of why did you apply to this school and how is that one better than this one? None of that is necessary. Simple and clear statement of, I have received these offers with these amounts of scholarship. You're going to say something like, I received an offer from Kellogg with a scholarship of, $50,000. Given my strong interest in Booth, I'd love to explore whether there's a possibility for an adjustment in my scholarship. So no ultimatums. Everything is, calm, professional, and reflect confidence and respect on both ends. Don't, like I said earlier, don't over-explain. Don't apologize for asking for money. None of that is necessary. Clear, concise communication is what you need. The next phase is, once you say, okay, I'm excited that you've given me an offer, then you say, these are my competing offers. Now is the time to communicate your value. So reinforce your value. That means what you bring to the table to enhance the classroom experience. So think about your professional background, your industry insights, your cross-cultural perspectives. And next, you want to talk about how you'll engage outside of the classroom. Are you someone who, like I mentioned earlier, mentors peers, starts initiatives, gets involved in student clubs or DEI initiatives or efforts? Or oftentimes what happens is that there's new intel that you haven't shared with the admission team since you've applied. So perhaps you've gotten a promotion, you retook the test, you have done something, you've gained some kind of exposure and experience that they do not know about when they made their financial decision, meaning scholarship decision. You would include that information, that new intel, in the application. And finally, obviously, you can subtly tie in your career goals in all of this by communicating how, your background, your experiences, your network, and the school's network and career services can come together for you to have, and you're going to have a lot of success in your future career that you're looking to have. The takeaway here is don't make it about all what you need. Show them that you are a high impact candidate that should enroll in their school. And should you enroll in the school, you're going to have a lot of success, which they should want to support. So then you really have to make the ask. Again, this is the part that oftentimes feels uncomfortable because you've laid the foundation, and then people sometimes stop there. They're like, yeah, but I thought I made it clear that I want more money. You have to actually make the ask. It's not a roundabout way. It's you're going to go and say, I would like to be considered for more scholarship. So you're going to reaffirm your enthusiasm for the program. Again, repeat your competing offers, and then gently ask if there's room for scholarship consideration. Frame this as a partnership, not as a transaction, however. You don't just try to get the best deal. You're trying to make it possible to attend their school. And communicate your commitment, again, that should a more palatable financial package be presented, that you would say yes to the school. Whether you make the commitment or not, it is an entirely different conversation. Then obviously you want, once you make the ask, you want to shift from asking to, responding. So if you got the ideal response, the positive outcome, you're going to say, you're going to be gracious. You're going to take the time then. If you're ready to make the commitment, make the commitment. If you're not ready to make the commitment yet, take the time that you need to make the commitment, obviously making sure that you don't miss their deadlines. You're always going to respond with a sincere thank you, indicate your intention to enroll. And if you're still deciding, like I said, affirm that this offer significantly increases your ability to commit. If they've said no to you, and this happens too, just because you asked, they don't have to say yes. What's important is how you react. So it's really important that you respond graciously, and you have an opportunity to ask for other opportunities, maybe your second year. So some opportunities can be graduate assistantships, research roles, need-based aid, payment plans, or extension on the timeline to make the payment. All of these are parts of the conversations that you can have in the scholarship negotiation process. And the final piece of the process often gets overlooked. It's really important to maintain relationship, whether you say yes or no, whether you commit or no. Believe it or not, this community is really small. People know other people across schools. If you don't handle the scholarship negotiation well, and you still end up attending that school, you're going to actually connect with the same people that you were not so gracious with when you are in the program. And the programs, even in a school like Harvard and Wharton, even though you're close to 1,000 students in there, you're still going to be interacting with administrators, and they will remember you, especially if there was a negative experience. So it's really important to keep calm the entire time. Make sure you maintain relationships across the board. You never know when you need someone's support and help down the line. So that definitely never burn bridges. So we can help you if you need help with this negotiation process. I know the timeline is important, given that the decisions are have come out for most of the schools. And obviously you need to negotiate and make final calls relatively soon. So if you need support, feel free to reach out, and we can see, first and foremost, through a consultation call, we can discuss what offers you have in hand, if there's possibility to even negotiate. And then once you decide to move forward, we can work through the letter and the drafts that are necessary to get the content right to negotiate. All right, let's move to the Q&A. So the questions that have come in. So my college actually increased my scholarship once, but said that they're out of money right now, and said that they try again in July. Do you think this is a possibility? If they've said that, they didn't have to say that. So if they said that, I would definitely take it at face value. However, just the way you phrased it doesn't mean that it's a guarantee. So they will try again in July if there's funding to give you more money. So you have to make the decision with what you have currently in hand, and obviously hope for the best that you can have more down the line. Excellent. Next question. Do you have any tips for negotiating where one has only one offer from one school and no initial scholarship was awarded? Yeah, you can do the same exact process. Obviously, you would skip the part about having offers from other schools, and you would reiterate particularly why you are deserving of the scholarship, which means you're going to highlight your academic performance, your professional experiences, growth. Essentially, like, your value is going to be the place where you're going to emphasize a lot more. If there is a need base in terms of funding, then particularly if the school does offer need-based scholarship, then you're going to provide evidence for that as well. All right, next question. Does UCLA have discretionary scholarship? I have seen that they have been able to negotiate, so I would say yes. But this is, again, depending on what you bring to the table and what kind of class you're putting together. We're going to do rapid fire because we have 9 minutes. Is asking for a TA/GA position okay or plausible, or would it be better to try to negotiate more funding? I have one school that offered this position and one that didn't, but would like the potential consideration. I would ask. I would definitely ask, but it depends on really what you want. What's more important to you? Do you want the funding, or do you want the TA/GA role? So I would make that request, and I would first internally evaluate, and then you can make the ask if that's something that there will be an opportunity for once you join for the other program. Does CBS negotiate scholarship? I could not find any resources, and I do not have a counter offer of a similar amount. Yes, CBS does negotiate, but essentially, like, depending on which round you are applying to, just because of funding. I don't know how, political events have impacted funding at this moment, but historically, yes, they do negotiate. But you would follow the same process. You would demonstrate why you are a value add to CBS. and communicate to them essentially how you're going to be, why you're deserving essentially of a scholarship. How do you negotiate scholarship if you have multiple offers but without scholarships? The same exact, I know I keep repeating myself, but it's the same exact way. You are going to say, I mean, you can look at even the cost of attendance with one school to another. So you want to be really creative in terms of where, like, what would it cost to go to one school versus another school? And that is another element, because not all schools cost the same. So that can help for sure. Like, we have done that here at C Admissions, and we'll be able to negotiate, I think it was like $30,000 scholarship additional to what they had originally. So that's definitely possible, but you have to be creative. Look at the full spectrum of all the information that you have in front of you and build a case, essentially. So if both an admission officer and a financial aid officer are available, who would you recommend I reach out to initially? I would say if the admission officer, you have communicated with them in the past, it's easier to talk to them at this point. I would say, so that would be on the, admission. I'd probably go with them first, and then financial aid if you need to discuss, payments and all those other kinds of things. But the letters that you send out go to both the admission team as well as the financial aid, especially if you're adding it as an email. Okay. Is asking for scholarship negotiation okay before meeting them for Admitted Students Day? Will asking this make it awkward, especially if they say no to my request? They're not really taking anything personally. They, just like when they make decisions, they're not making decisions personally because they don't really know you. They've read your application. One person, whether that was a student, admission team, or alumnus, met you once. That's as much as they know about you. So they're not going to take things personally. It will only be awkward if you make it awkward. So I would not, I would negotiate scholarship now. Don't wait for Admitted Students Day, because it will take you time to actually craft a strong, compelling case for yourself. And it will take them, because they don't meet every single day to negotiate scholarship. It's not like the admission team is going to sit there in front of a computer and say, oh, I have X amount of dollars that I'm going to distribute based on whoever contacts me first. It doesn't work like that. There's like a committee that meets and decides who gets scholarship. So you need to give them time. And I typically say about 2 weeks before you have to make your final call is when your email should go out to them. So don't wait, essentially. Okay, I reached out to NYU Stern. They clearly said all admitted students are reviewed for scholarship by the admission committee at the time of admission, with all decision being final. I don't know what the question is. So let's continue. What if you don't have offers of equivalent strength? Is it possible to leverage an irrelevant offer from a T50 with 100% scholarship to a T20? You can try. It's not going to be that, it's not going to move the needle, unfortunately, because that's not really a competing category of school. I've had a client last year, the year before last, I think it was, who got a full ride at Ross and $0 from Kellogg. And we used the full ride from Ross to negotiate $70,000 out of Kellogg. But that's because they're in the same category. I haven't seen yet, but I'll be frank with you, I haven't also worked with people who applied to a T50 school. So I can't speak to that, but I know that the evaluation of scholarship is dependent on also the caliber of applicant and what value they're going to bring to the table. Okay, next question. You're so welcome. What if the school turns out and asks you for how much money you need if you send them a full ride scholarship offer from a lower ranked school? They typically don't do that. They will just say, we have this amount. Like for them to come back and say, oh, we need, like, how much money do you need? It means they have more money than, like, they don't know what to do with. So they're not going to do that. They're just going to say, here's some money that we can offer you. And you essentially negotiate that. Like, that's kind of what they have to offer. So I wouldn't be worried about that. You never tell them how much you need in your letter, by the way. So if anyone is here still thinking about, oh, I'm going to say I need 50,000 or whatever, don't include an amount. You always just keep it open-ended and ask them just for more money. Okay, what if I negotiate once successfully and got rejected the other time? Can I negotiate again post accepting the offer? They haven't mentioned that it's their final decision. Typically, you negotiate once. I'm not sure how many times you want to negotiate. You negotiate one time. There's no multiple discussions. There's no multiple negotiations. It is just the one-time negotiation. You send an email requesting, and whatever they tell you. If you try to negotiate again, they're most likely going to say no. That's the answer. And I think we have 1 more minute, one last question, and we're done. What to do if one receives offers and scholarship from an institution with lower rank? I'm not sure if if you received an offer and scholarship from an institution from a lower rank, you have to decide if you want to accept it. If you are looking for a higher ranked school, then you need offers from a higher, like, scholarship negotiation happens only after you're accepted. I'm not sure if I fully understand the question, to be honest, so I will leave it at that. Excellent. We are out of time. If you need support in your scholarship negotiation, feel free to reach out. You can scan the QR code on the screen. There should be something in the chat as well. Thank you so much for being here, asking wonderful questions. Congratulations on your offers of admission, first and foremost. And we will connect again soon.